Hi, I am Gabrielle and this is The Invisible. So this podcast is about everything that is actually shaping our lives and that we cannot really see, that we can't grasp with our mind, but yet we can feel it very strongly. So maybe you have this feeling that something is holding you back, but you don't know what it is. You can think about it, you can journal, you can analyze it, you can try to understand in every possible angle, but still not being able to see it. And that is the invisible, the inherited patterns, the protective layers, the part of ourselves that we had to exile in order to survive. And those parts once protected us, but comes a point where they begin, or actually they keep us really small. So my intention with this podcast is to bring consciousness to those hidden parts of ourselves, so that what has remained invisible can finally become visible. And this work of consciousness is already helping and supporting the dissolving of all these protective layers that were and that are still sometimes necessary. And when we work with those layers, we work with a lot of softness. But the thing is, like, when we resist, we create even more tension. We create even more hardship. So before we begin, every episode comes with a free integration practice. It's a beautiful blend with sound healing, subconscious reprogramming, and tapping. And it's created for your body to integrate the topic that we explore during this podcast. You will find the link in the show note. It's free. And while you're listening, if you realize that you've been carrying those patterns for a long time and that you're really resisting this shedding and this inner work of transformation and alchemizing, and you're ready to go deeply, I would love to support you. We can work one-on-one inside of my 6 months container called Essential Care. It's where I walk beside you through your life's threshold of transformation. And if you're looking for something that is more focused, you can book the root session. We work with tapping, quantum healing, subconscious reprogramming around a specific theme. And throughout my work, I have always your astrological chart open so I can really see what's going on in the background. Okay, for today now, let's begin. A very dear topic to me is the seasonal transformation, because I've seen this coming up again. And a lot in our one-on-one session, I've seen women resisting the seasons they are in. And I've been through that myself too. So I felt like I've been through a very long winter. It's kind of like hard to date it, but 4 or 5 years. And looking back now, I honestly think that if I had resisted less, if I had resisted this winter less, it might have been shorter. Or it might have been actually easier. And today I want to talk about our cyclical nature. We are nature. Nature is not separate from us. It mirrors us constantly. And every year, nature moves through seasons, spring, summer, autumn, and winter, no? And also, it's not only in the year. Sometimes the transits are even wider. In astrology, the transits can take a year, 3 years, 8 years, 20 years. So it's not like I don't want to talk about a yearly seasons, but like the seasons in life, the cycle, and even humanity, civilization, we move through cycle. And I don't know if you follow astrology, but now we say that we are at the end of a certain era and the new era has already started. So, the change is constant, and those changes and those change of season are supporting our evolution. Yet, we live in a world that values only one season, and it's the summer, the constant summer. But it's not possible, and it's not sustainable. So, in that world that value only summer, we are taught to keep growing constantly, to keep producing, to keep achieving, moving, upgrading ourselves. This is exhausting. And we value very, very, very little the inner work, slowing down, resting, going inward. And I mean, as women, and we have this 28 cycles, so for us women, we know that even in a even more shorter and precise cycle, that we need to go inward once a month. And that is our greatest force, to have this huge, important shedding time every month. That's precious. And I've seen also a lot in sessions or around in my classes, so many women not being in tune with their moon cycle. And it's so important to really go with this flow and support ourselves when we go down, and then we can go up. No? So because of this not valuing the slowing down and the going inward, we forgot that we are cyclical being, and we forgot to honor it, But it's not only inner work, it's our business move through seasons, our relationship, our finance, our health, our inner world. So sometimes one topic is in summer, sometimes one topic is in winter. At the moment, for me, all the topics just went through a very long winter. I'll mention that later, and I've just entered early spring. But what is important to understand is that, we might be experiencing a beautiful spring in our relationship while the business is asking us to move through autumn. And you may feel like your work is flourishing while the body is actually asking for winter and deep restoration. The invisible is that we often don't know where we are. And because we don't know where we are, we fight the season we are in, and we resist. And I think right now it is the first step. First, know where you are, in which season you are. Because when we understand the natural sequence of the season, we stop resisting them. We stop comparing our winter to someone else's summer. We begin understanding that this season is asking us. We begin understanding that this season is asking from us instead of wishing we were somewhere else. So it's like being in tune to where we are. And the more we in tune with this moment, the more we are ready to go towards the next season. So for now, let's go through the season and the explication. We're going to start with spring. Spring is the season of renewal. Life begins circulating again. There is movement, ideas, excitement, possibilities. And in business, spring is often the moment where we invest enormous amount of energy. We're pouring energy outward. We work, we build, we create, and very often everything we earn goes straight back into the business. It's a season of planting seeds rather than harvesting results. And the same thing with relationship. Trust is being built. Something new is emerging. But not everything is yet visible. So spring is exciting, but it can also feel messy, because everything is beginning at once. Then comes summer, this season that is admired by the most by our society. So in summer, everything is flourishing. Our work becomes visible, your business begins generating more income, your relationship feels established. There is confidence, there is radiance, there is expansion. But summer was never meant to last forever. And I think this is where so much suffering begins. We expect ourselves to stay in summer all the time, always productive, always inspired, always growing and expanding. But nature doesn't work that way, and neither we do. After summer comes autumn. And maybe autumn might be the most misunderstood, because from the outside it looks like not things that are stopping, but things are actually really, really slowing down. But slowing down doesn't mean moving backwards. Autumn is the season of harvest. It's the moment where we begin gathering everything we have cultivated through spring and summer. So it's like, like having a look at squirrels. You know, they don't keep running endlessly. They know winter is coming, and they begin to prepare. They collect, they organize, they store what they will need for later. Nature is so incredibly intelligent, and I think we've forgotten that intelligence. So autumn invites us to do the same, to save money, energy, to organize and simplify, to become more intentional with where our energy goes. It's a quieter season. We enter into the yin seasons, more feminine, started to go inward. And we start letting go of some layers that no longer serves us. That was very necessary for spring and summer, but in autumn we start shedding and making space for the next cycle. So then comes winter, the necessary winter. And that is most probably the season we all resist the most. And winter is connected with death. Not the literal death, but the end of the cycle. Nature returned to earth. Everything appears still. Everything seems quiet. But only from the outside. It looks like nothing is happening, but underneath the surface, regeneration is taking place. The roots are resting, the soil is restoring, and life is preparing for another spring. So during winter, there might be a sensation of being depressed, or maybe your body is putting you through a burnout, because it's actually forcing you to go into this winter, into this regeneration, into stopping, because society doesn't really allow us to stop. So, but this is very necessary, because then we are available for the next spring, the renewal. And I spent, I don't know, it's hard to say, but 4-5 years into a very long winter in all areas of my life, my business, my finances, my relationship within myself. I called it a very long hermitage. A part of it was chosen, a part of it I suffered from it. And for a long time I fought it. It was really hard. I wanted things to happen, to move faster. I wanted to create more. And also because I have strong layer of protection, very deep, high and thick wall of protections. And I used to be a fighter. And it gives me a lot of emotion to say that. But I am now learning, through the end of my winter, I'm now learning to soften and to be more in my feminine and less in that fight mode. And also I can see that this fight mode is very much something that ran through my family history. And yeah, so fighting back has been something that really ran my life for a long time. And I am in this transformation, and I feel grateful about it. So anyway, coming back to this winter, looking back, I don't think winter was so difficult because it was winter. It's more the resisting part that was, like so hard, like swimming against current. That is so exhausting. And when I started to really surrender and go deeply into this hermitage, it's really what really started to dissolve and shed everything that needed to be shed. And it's when really I understood that surrendering and accepting the season I was in, it's where I could deeply transform, and when the gift actually came to me. So yeah, I really think we suffer because we believe we should be in another season. We should be in another summer all the time. And the moment we believe we should be somewhere else and we stop listening to what this season is trying to teach us, because every season has something to teach us. Spring is teaching us new beginning and to trust this new beginning. Summer teaches us to receive and expand. Autumn to gather, simplify, and prepare. Winter teaches us to surrender, regenerate, and trust what we cannot yet see. And the seasons are here to support our evolution. And yeah, one of the biggest shift has simply been learning to ask a different question. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Now I ask myself, what season I am in, or what moment of my moon cycle I am in. Do I need to rest this week, this day, this weekend? Because once we know where we are, and we can translate this entire podcast to just the moon cycle and your cycle. I'm not an expert in it. I think that there are way better teacher to do transmission about that. But I think that once we know where we are, we stop fighting reality. And we stop asking winter to become spring, because it will naturally become spring. And I stop expecting myself to bloom when life is asking me to rest. It's counterproductive. And that's where acceptance begins. So, I learned, as you could just hear, I learned this through lived experience. But what helped me a lot was astrology. How much fond of astrology I am, and I use astrology all through my work. And so astrology really helped me to understand the dynamics, the transit. There are moments in life, and at the moment I'm going through a 2.5-year cycle of going deep within, and I know that these 2.5 years are precious, because the next step will be another layer of spring. The transit in astrology has taught me a lot about timing, and to remind myself that some transits are just, sometimes they're short, sometimes they're long, and how we can work with it and not against it. So life unfolds in cycles, and healing unfolds in cycles, as well as growth. So that understanding brought me so much compassion into my life. I also learned a lot, like a great deal, about being cyclical and season through Margot de Broglie Money School. I don't know if you know her work. It's mind-blowing. I think it's been one of the best investments I've made this year. And so far. Of course, in this course, I learned a lot about money and finance, my relationship with it. But I also learned so much about being feminine towards those topics, being cyclical towards those topics, being more in a collaborative way, more intuitive, and to really understand that this work is from within out. So Margot speaks a lot about cycle, being cyclical, about moving away from a world that is constantly valuing masculine energy, doing more, producing more, achieving more. Do you relate? And for us to remember the importance of the feminine, going inward before going outward, honoring those cycles, honoring collaboration, intuition, working together, creating from alignment rather than pressure. This world is designed for men. So how can we find this space? How we can work with very much this matrix and this reality, and find our truth and find our place in it, reminding ourselves that we are cyclical in the way we create, we work, we earn and lead. I will leave the link of Margot's Money School in the show notes. It genuinely transformed the way I understand money, business, and the wisdom of living in cycles. And if this episode inspires you to join Margot next Money School in September, I'd be so grateful if you can mention that you discovered it through this podcast, Invisible. So, of course, life becomes much more easier when we stop resisting the flow. As I mentioned earlier, I have entered a very, very early spring stage, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. I'm taking it very slowly with a lot of humility. I really trust that this season knows what it is doing, and I'm really open to that. I feel my energy is raising, and I feel ready to outpour this energy towards all this new project that, I'm birthing, this podcast, a new way of presenting myself and my offers. So, yeah, let's see. So today I would like to simply leave you with this invitation. First, know where you are. Not where you wish to be, not where you think you should be, but where you are truly. And because the moment you recognize your season and you accept it, you stop resisting the season you are in. And it can finally begin to transform you and bridge you to the next season. So, if you're moving through a season that feels challenging, I'd be honored to walk alongside with you. And this is exactly the work we do together. Not forcing the change, but understanding where you are. Supporting the movement that is already happening. Allowing transformation to unfold with awareness, more ease and less resistance. So there are the links of my offers in the show note, in the description. Essential Care, my 6 months one-on-one container. You can also book the root sessions if you are looking for something that is more specific. To work on a very specific theme. In Essential Care, 6 months we kind of work somehow everything, and we narrow it down to, your own specific direction. So yeah, you'll find the links of the offers in the show notes. And if this episode resonated with you, you can access the free integration practice. As I said, it's a beautiful combination of sound, healing, subconscious reprogramming, and tapping. It's designed to help you embody what we have explored today. Thank you so much for listening to The Invisible, and I'll see you next week.